riot his parties he attended in the symposium, and all his cronies piling in at the last minute and drinking up a storm. That's a very interesting alternative sentence. Free room and board in the Prytaneum. Like the Blair House. And so they go back once more, and they say, Socrates, we can't accept this alternative sentence. Death. And that's the dialogue. Only thing we have to wonder about is, what's this? 10 pages. You see, it's half of the dialogue. Look here, 17 to 27. 27 to 36. All right, there we go. Or just a little bit short of it if we pick it up at 19. What's this middle section doing? And that's really what I want to talk about. That's where we're going. So, let's take a look at what he's doing. Now I'd like to present, therefore, '24, 27 is right, that's right. I want to make sure I'm using a different text than I usually use. I have to find it. Exactly at 28, well then, men of Athens, Socrates addressing the whole audience, 501 in the jury box, well, men of Athens, that I am not a wrongdoer according to Meletus' indictment, seems to me not to need much of a defense. But what I have said is enough. That ends it. That's all. But you may be assured that what I said before is true. That great hatred has risen against me in the minds of many persons, and this it is which will cause my condemnation. If it is to cause it, not Meletus or Anytos, but the prejudice and dislike of the many. This has condemned many other good men, and I think will do so, and there's no danger it will stop with me. So it'll go on. It's not Meletus, it's this prejudice. It's not going to end. He said, well then, you might ask then, why am I conducting myself the way I am doing? What am I doing it for, he says. You think, I'll tell you. He said, I must tell you what I'm doing. So I have a post. Very much like in the military. For thus it is, men of Athens, in truth, that wherever a man stations himself, thinking it's the best to be there, or is stationed there by his commander, there he must, as it seems to me, remain and run his risks, considering neither death nor any other thing more than disgrace. He said, I've been commanded in military posts, and that's where I have placed myself. Here's where it starts now. But when the God gave me a station, as I believed and understood, with orders to spend my life in philosophy and examining myself and others, there, right, that's his post. With orders to spend my life in philosophy and examining myself and others. He said if I were to desert my post, through fear of death or anything else, he said, I would be disobeying the God. He said, don't worry about death. There's nothing to fear about death. So he thinks he has been assigned this post by God. For know that the God commands me to do this, and I believe that no greater good ever came to pass in the city than my service to the God. He said, I just go around and tell you to take care of your souls. That's my job. He said, no better thing has happened in Athens. Now I'm going to say some things to you at which you might, perhaps cry out. But do not do so by any means. For I know if you kill me, I being such a man as I am, you will not injure me as much as yourselves. For neither Miletus nor Anytus could injure me. That would be impossible. For I believe it is not God's will that a better man should be injured by a worse. And so, men of Athens, I am now making my defense not for my own sake, as one might imagine, but far more for yours, that you may not, by condemning me, err in your treatment of the gift God gave you. Sees himself as a gift of God. He said, if you put me to death, he said, you won't easily find another. He said, I'll tell you what I am. He said, I'm a gadfly. I think that God fastened me upon the city in some such capacity, and I go about arousing and urging and reproaching each one of you, constantly alighting upon you everywhere the whole day long. Oh yes, he says, perhaps you might be angry like people awakened from a nap, and might slap me, as Anytus advises, and easily kill me. Then you'd pass the rest of your lives in a slumber, unless God, in his care for you, should send someone else to sting you. And that I am, as I say, a kind of gift from the gods, you might understand from this. Now, I made a rather bold statement before. I said that I want to make a claim that I think Socrates is making a unique claim. And the uniqueness has not so far been addressed. I now want to see whether I can address it. And why then do people love to spend much of their time with me? You've heard the reason, men of Athens. For I told you the whole truth. It's because they like to listen when those are examined who think they are wise and are not so, for it is amusing. But, as I believe, I have been commanded to do this by the God. Now watch the statement, very interesting statement. Through oracles and dreams, and in every way in which